Alright, it's time for N3 Part 3 as we continue our nearly endless, but not quite endless kanji quest. We start off with a spooky one. Jeez. This might not be one that I've even seen before. So, let's try to make an educated guess. On the bottom we have mouth, which makes me think it's probably like notify, help, possibly happiness or blessing. But I'm thinking it's one of these two. Help, I know lots of, or another kanji that means help, but I suppose probably lots of things could mean help. I'm gonna guess it's notify. Alright, sweet. I don't know if I actually had seen that one before or not. Or if I just was able to puzzle it out. But let's see. So this I always think of as like before, when we have kind of this ground type thing, or something that looks similar to this, and then it has this dash over here. And then on the bottom we have a mouth, which usually implies something being said. Different from like the say radical, which has like the mouth at the bottom and then the four lines on top. If it's just the mouth by itself, it usually seems to be more about like the act of speaking. Maybe. This is, I'm pretty sure, commit. I think it's like committee in the other one that I have. Yeah, alright. Good, good. Easy enough, I think. On the top, this is like that kind of self, that almost like private self associated type thing, the tree with the roof, and on the bottom is a woman. I'm not sure really how that adds up, but you can kind of think it's like multiple people coming together. This is system or control. On the left, we have something that kind of looks like market, but it has a few more lines just to kind of make it a more elaborate market, maybe. And then on the right, we have the radical that I often associate with kind of like systematic things, like it's in publishing and profit and stuff like that. So altogether, you kind of get this idea of it being systematic, control, things like that. This is to affect. On the left, we have mix or mingle, and on the right, we have power. So the power to kind of mix things up and change things, that's the effect that it has. Easy peasy. This is branch. So on the right, we have like skill or degree, or all of those kind of related radicals. And on the left, we have a tree. So the thing, the kind of like splintering off of the tree, like the kind of outward end of the tree, or whatever I like to think of as the branch. Sure thing. We can see this is used for like split ends of hair, a toothpick, and edamame for some reason. I guess because it's like a branching off bean, something like that. This is, I think it's this. Okay, yeah, I thought so. And in the one that I have, it's put as honesty. So how would you think of this? This is like a super eye, or it's like a dish on its side, or something like that. So maybe if you think of a dish, and then you're rotating it and affixing it straight up and down, something like that. Kind of holding it in place. This part is like it nails it in, maybe. Something like that. This is shore. So on the top we have mountain. On the bottom we have like eaves. And then you can kind of think of as like this is the part that's actually being described by the kanji. This kind of roof shape here is the actual shore that goes around that area, something like that. So you see this used for like beach and stuff. It's the seashore, kaigan. This is negative or not good. It's a radical that shows up in quite a few things. So it's kind of just a good one to know by itself. I don't know if there's a good way to think about it. I kind of like the way that it breaks. It looks like 3, but then no, it's like the not equal sign, It's not 3, so it's not good, I guess. I don't know. This is river. So on the left we have water, and then on the right we have like possible. So it's like the possible water. water that flows from somewhere else that's possibly coming in. And you hear this one a lot, kawa. This is example. You'll see this a lot in textbooks. So on the right side we have row. Remember, this whole thing means row, and on the left we have a person. So a person who's kind of getting in row or getting in line or something is someone who's an example. But of course it's also used for like textbook examples and things like that. This is slope or incline. So on the left we have ground, and on the right we have anti. So if we think of kind of like the opposite of flat ground, it would be something that's sloped. Easy, easy peasy. All right, and you see it shows up in place names as well. This is maybe this, I think. Maybe this? Jeez, man, I can't quite remember this one. I have seen this one before, but I thought it was sort of like technique or something like that. Which of these do you think? Say this. All right, sweet. So yeah, I think this is sort of the implication that I had seen referred to in the other one, is like something that used as reference, a technique passed down used as reference, something like that. Also, carrot, for some reason, ninjin, person, attendance becomes carrot. Sure. This is I didn't think it was any of these. I thought this was like individual. Periphery? Maybe it's periphery? Oh yeah, I think it's periphery, because I also think this is like circumference. Yeah. This is also used for circumference. I got it mixed up with another one. I think individual is if it's the entire box. Or no, that's like harden. And then the entire box and with a person is individual. At any rate, this is periphery. I think it's also used for circumference. This means like one revolution around something. So it's a good way to remember this, because evidently I didn't really that well. Inside we have like the ground mouth, and then this big roof over top of all of it. See, to me, it seems backwards that this should have the entire box if it's talking about an entire revolution around something or the circumference of something, but I don't know. I don't know what's up. This is receive. It's like kind of a fancy roof over this shifting or changing thing. I don't know why. How could this be receive? I don't know, because receive is such a basic one. It's kind of hard to break it down into some sort of constituent meaning. But that is what it is, so, you know, you gotta get used to it. This is happiness or blessing. Oh, I love this kanji. This is shiawase. I think it's just such a lovely word, and I love hearing it in music and in anime and any other place that I would encounter it. Shiawase ni natta. I have become happy. So on the top we have ground again. Then on the bottom, this is like sheep-ish. It's sort of like sheep. So if we think of like the pasture full of sheep, that just brings you such blooming, wonderful happiness within yourself. So to me, this happiness ranks above other words that mean happy. This is like the truly kind of wonderful, warm happiness that comes deep from within. Shiawase. This is reside. So this is old in the bottom right here, and then on top we have that kind of doorway looking thing. So it's like kind of like a cozier sort of residing than other things that are more your dwelling place or your legal residence or whatever. This is, I think, how you would refer to more, I don't know. Actually, the one that means dwelling is just part of this compound. That means your residence. I don't really know. But you can kind of see pretty easily how that works out to be something like that. This is Oh, jeez. Oh, past former times, yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. So on the top, it's like together, kind of, it's missing the legs from together, but you can think of it together. And then day underneath, so you can think of as like the days that have all come together, the past. Mukashi. You might have heard that before. Mukashi no mama. That's the way that it used to be. Mukashi banshi, an old legend, things like that. This is government. This thing down here is like a government worker. So on top, the roof that covers it, that's where you work in the government. Good. So you can see it shows up in different types of government worker. This is target. So on the right you have, or on the left you have white. So you can think of that as like the white circle that you're aiming to hit. And on the left, I don't know, this is kind of like a bullet maybe coming through this area. Sure. You'll see this if you see festival episodes on the banners and stuff at the target shooting galleries. This is the word they'll use. This is reality or truth. The bottom part, I don't know. It just kind of looks significant, doesn't it? It just looks like it kind of reminds me of business or beauty or some other words that have these many horizontal lines intersecting something. So then if you kind of like bundle up all of that and put it under one roof, that's the truth of the situation. To bear fruit. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. This one is solid or firm. Okay, yeah. So we were trying to remember before, I was getting it mixed up with individual and circumference, but when it's the entire box around this ground over mouth, or it's around old, actually they're a little different, aren't they? The one we were looking at before, the like half box or 3/4 box around one, that's like ground over top of mouth, whereas this is just a box around old. So I guess you can think of it as just like a box that's kind of like holding up something elderly and withering away, I don't know, or something more pleasant. You can also think of it as something more pleasant. This is to graduate. I don't really know a good way to think of it. This is like two people, they're wearing a fancy hat, they're walking down the crossroads of life because they've graduated and now it's time for the next chapter or something. This is fruit or end. You can see there's like a tree here, and on top there's a rice field. So what is the rice field of a tree? Well, that's the fruit. Sure. It also means end, I guess. Oh, like the effect, like the fruit that it bears. Okay, that's kind of cool. This is nature or gender. So on the right we have like life that we've seen in all sorts of radicals and situations. On the left is a radical that I don't know. I've never really been able to peg down what this ought to mean or what pattern surrounds its use. But if you think of it as kind of like I don't know, like a classifier, like a divisor, something that kind of sorts things, then the sorting of life is that it's nature or it's gender or something like that, I guess. This is, oh boy, resemble, I think? Oh boy. Person. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what it is in the other app that I use, but it's something kind of along these lines. This one is weird. It's like hard to identify any radicals in it. On the left we have a person, but on the right, who knows what's going on? It almost looks like heart. You could say that this kanji resembles a lot of other things, but doesn't really look like anything. So therefore it means resemble? Is that good enough? That's something. This is a newborn child. So we know that this means like a long time ago, this top part. And then on the bottom, we have the human legs, that if you see these at the bottom, we're talking about a type of human being. So, and the way that people were a long time ago, that was when they were first born. Sure. This is fix. Oh, no, it's determine or fix. Yeah, right? Because the other one was fix or straight, right? The upward dish. So this one is determine fix. Okay, that's a little tricky, but we worked it out. So on the bottom, I think of this a lot as like, it looks a lot like truth or verification, where instead it would just be like the bottom is flat here and then there's an upward line, if you can remember that kanji from way back when. So instead, we've got these kind of like running legs. So it's kind of like a more active truth searching process. And then the roof over top is a roof over top. But it's kind of like an active truth finding thing. You're determining what is true. All right. This is... I think form or letter. This one, I'm not sure. None of these are lining up that well with... Okay, all right, I thought so. With what I remembered from the other app. This one shows up all over the place and various different types of things. I don't know how the heck to remember it. On the right is a dog. This old doggy. And on the left is water splashing against the wall. Can't get at the dog. That's good. That's good form. Heh. Maybe. So this is wave. So on the right we have like degrees. So if we think of like the different degrees of water, which is of course what's on the left, we get a wave, nami. It's a good one. Wavelength, quite literal. Brainwaves, also very literal. Tsunami, not so literal, but close enough. This is to take. On the left we have ear, and on the right we have like shifting thing. So I'm not really sure how that adds up to take. Again, take being just so abstracted, I don't really know if there's a good way to break it down into something that means something like this. This also means rock. You remember before we had stone, which was just this part, and now if you put a mountain over top of it, that's like a big rock. So this just means like big rock. And here we can see both of them back to back, ganseki, to also mean rock. And then if you just take, look at this, it's like this and one of its radicals is rock. This and the other radical is rocky mountain. Like this one, it kind of makes sense because you're describing a type of mountain. But this one is just like rocky rock. It's a rock. Like what? Like this is to cry. I often get this one mixed up with like govern or something, which looks quite similar. And those are like very different things. But if you think of your water like standing up, your water is like making a big to-do and a big noise. That's because you're crying. That's like the loud water. So yeah, it's a good one. Nakigoe. This is bottom. So we have like a roof over top of this thing. This thing I associate with like loweredness, lowness in general. This kind of shape. So if there's a roof over top of all of that, you know it's like at the absolute bottom. Sure. This is to raise or breed. On the top we have like that kind of private thing, and there's a roof over it. Underneath we have moon, which here I would think of as like your corporeal body. It shows up as a radical for a lot of things relating to body parts and organs and such. So if you think of like raising up, nurturing the actual physical taking care of a child or something, that's the one that uses here. So that's like the body, and in private you kind of just nurture someone along, I guess. This is cooperate. I think this one is really nice. So on the left we have like a needle or a measure or things along those lines. On the right we have 3 powers all working together, and by the measuring and the cooperation of those powers, so much is achieved. So that is cooperate. It's a nice idea, isn't it? This one is suffering or bitter, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we have like grass over old. So when grass is withered and browned and crusty and dusty and all that stuff, it becomes bitter. It's suffering. It shows up in a lot of really unpleasant words. Kurushi. This is so painful. Kurushimi. That's the actual anguish itself. These are words you might hear. This is to govern or cure. Yeah. See, yeah, I got it mixed up with cry, and then I did again. But it's actually the water stays the same, and on the right, it changes from stand up to this, which means like base or pedestal or whatever. So I guess like kind of the basic waters of one's life, the fundamental supporting waters need to be cured and governed properly, I guess. This is the Ji and Meiji, which was an era now, a couple of eras ago. Well, more than a couple now. Yeah, it shows up in decor to correct. At least the pop-up text here is complete. Sure. This is a tool. So again, we have this like upright plate, and it's over top of animal legs. So if you think, going back to when these were first made, which was thousands and thousands of years ago, probably most tools were made out of animal bone. So that, sure, that's good enough for me. So this part on the bottom suggests like an animal, and then the top part suggests like a dish or something. A dish being stood upright as some sort of functional thing. So it's a tool. This is to print, I'm pretty sure. There's nothing else it could be. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is print. So on the left we have a little doorway over a market. So if we think of like some sort of stand in a market, some sort of commercial business, and on the right is our kind of like publishing systematic, shows up in a lot of things like that, radical, then that business would be to print things. That would be in the business of printing. So here we have mark from like Muji, insatsu to mean printing something. Okay. This is to labor, to pant and labor over every intake. So some Joanna Newsom lyrics for you. So on the bottom we have power again. On the top we have a fancy roof. So to afford this fancy roof, you have to do a lot of labor, I guess. I'm not quite sure where this is used versus the other one that we knew that meant toil, we looked at before, which is where it's like power, woman, mix-up thing. So I don't know. I feel like the other one is like more severe toiling, more desperate. This is more just kind of the regular amount of labor you would partake in for your job or something. This is mention or state, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So on the left we have, or the left bottom, we have like that guiding, moving, journey type thing. On the right we have tree with a little thing, so you can think maybe you're like walking along, you're pointing out the things on the trees, you're mentioning all of them. This kind of idea of that you're stating what's up with them. It's some sort of informative thing. This is cold. Object person. In the app that I use on my phone, it makes reference to beer specifically. But yeah, you'll see this in the description of products. So this is like the feeling of cold is samui, which I think we've seen before. Whereas this is something else is cold. It's like that entire object is cold versus the feeling of being cold, if that makes sense. And then this also is used metaphorically for like people's attitudes and stuff. And in the same way that we do in English, we say, oh, he's quite cold to me. Things like that. This is a wife. On the top we have part of like koto, you know, kind of an abstract thing, like a non-material idea. On the bottom we have a woman. So it's like the woman that kind of has this object A, to paraphrase Lacan, that has this sort of ineffable, this additional property to her, that she's not just a woman in your life, but that she has this abstract thing about her. That's because she's your wife, right? I guess, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of grasping for straws here, but that's how I think of it. This is to swim, so it's water, water. Water, water, water. Loo, loo, loo. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, God, I can't believe I did that. Somebody did that at dinner yesterday as like a joke. It was like bait. They said water, water, water to see if anybody would still do it, because it's like the orientation cry for the local university. And someone did it, and I was like, oh God, I thought I'd go the rest of my life without saying it or hearing it or anything like that. And then, even though I complained at the time, now I just did it. I just did it. Oh, and there's only 2 waters here, so what am I even talking about? So yeah, water on the left, water on the right. That means you're going for a swim. Sure. This is to invite, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is to invite. So on the left, we're like taking action. This is like the power of your mouth to invite someone to take action, I guess. You're inviting them. You're I don't know, bringing them in. And the app that I use on my phone, this is Beckon, and it sounds so much more like seductive. To beckon someone seems like inherently, I don't know, like inherently like you're up to something. This is beginning or first time. On the left, we have this one that we've encountered a few times, and I've always just kind of glossed over it because I don't really know what's going on with this as a radical. It kind of looks like tree. It kind of looks like thread. It kind of looks like neither of those. On the right, we have our katana. So it's like you're trying to determine what the heck is going on the left, and you're like, I can't just keep in this analysis paralysis. I'll never figure it out. I'm just gonna like cut through. Whoosh. I'm gonna like cut through all my self doubt. We're beginning. Hajime mashita. So yeah, you hear this one a lot. Hajime. That's part of, you know, the greeting. Hajime mashita. This is the first time I'm meeting you. Things like that. It's good. This is peace, or Japanese style. So on the left we have kind of like that private tree. On the right we have a big mouth. And this adds up to Japanese style. So this is the wa in Reiwa, which is the new era that we're in. And then you see it just in like a lot of Japanese style type things. To say like a Japanese style meal, Japanese style room, all that stuff. Well, they're all very positive things. This is some national egoism coming out. The fact that it also means peace, mild, calm, gentle. Well, not for a lot of their history, but So here on the left we have tree. On the right we have like genius, skill, or ability. So the genius of being able to work with trees is to make lumber out of them, to make materials out of them. Sure. This is, oh God. This is like in the app that I use on my phone, it uses this word that I can never really remember what it means. Acquiescence. And now it's like I'm trying to remember what that actually means. Help? Is it help? I thought it was like the means by which something is known. Something like that. I thought it was like something like that. Something like that. It's either one of these two, but I'm pretty sure we already did system, right? System was the one that's like the complicated market-esque thing on the left, and then the other type of sword, the systematic sword on the right. So I think it's got to be help. No, it's agree to. This word, acquiescences. Ah, dang it. All right, so that was my own folly in English, that I couldn't remember what this word meant. And then I couldn't remember that it obviously meant agree to. And yeah, I know this is help. I think we already had this one. No, maybe not, but I knew this was help. Ah, god dang it. This is season. This is one of my favorite kanji. I don't know why. I just think it looks so cool. But on the top we have this sort of tree, and then on the bottom we have child. So as the trees kind of like bear their children into the next season, or something like that, it just has like this wonderful feel in my mind of like nature, of nature kind of like flowing forward. Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. So yeah, yeah. I was still just pissed off that I got one wrong. We were running so good. Look, this is help. Tasukate kudasai. I should have had some English help to remember what acquiescence means. So on the left, it's like self, you know, the kind of I that you can think of as yourself, maybe. And then this is like power. You're empowering someone's self. You're helping them. This is easy. So on the top we have sun. On the bottom we have like thing. This is what I think of as like the thing radical, because it shows up in mono and stuff. So if what's the easiest thing in the world to be aware of? It's the sun. The easiest object in the world is the sun. So the sun object is easy. And god damn it. All right, 98. That was pretty good. Like we did better on this one originally than we did on these ones, but I'm still gonna run through it quick. Okay. Cold, bottom, branch, circumference, periphery, skill or technique or something else. What did I say this was? Yeah, okay, all right. Fruit. Old times. Wife. Form. Beckon. No. Govern. Target. Tool. Easy. Graduate. Help. Nope. Effect. System. Beckon. Invite. Reside. Resemble. Season. Japanese style. Reiwa. Welcome to Reiwa. The first time. Rock. This is. Oh, fixer straight. Waves. Government. Acquiescence. Agree to. Happiness. Reality or truth. Determine. Example. A baby. Nurture. Raise. Breed. Harden. Solid, firm. Slope. Cooperate. Take. Oh god. Oh, notify. Yeah, that was the one that we had to kind of like puzzle it. Wither. Suffering. Bitter. There we go. Help. Swim. Print. Cry. Mention. Lumber. River. Gender. Beach. Shore. Bad. Toil. Oh, labor. Receive. Committee. Hey, we did it. Okay. All right. Sweet. We redeemed ourselves. One wrong, not bad, not bad. N3 going pretty well. Things could get scary though any day. Maybe actually N3 I have not too bad. Maybe it's N2 where things are gonna get really, really scary. Okay, that's all for now. Bye bye.